Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will read the notice convening the meeting. Notice is hereby given that the 11th Annual General Meeting of the Cooperative Bank of Kenya Limited will be held at the Bomas of Kenya, Nairobi, on Thursday, 23rd May 2019 at 11 a.m. for the transaction of the following business. Ordinary business, to read the notice convening the meeting and determine if a quorum is present. 2, to receive and consider, and if approved, adopt the audited consolidated financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st December 2018, together with the directors and auditors' report thereon. 3, to approve and declare a first and final dividend of 1 shilling per share in respect of the year ended 31st December 2018, to be paid to the shareholders on the register as at close of business on 29th April 2019. 4, election of directors. Mr. Macleod Malonza, Mr. Richard Kimanthi, and Mr. Benedict Simiu, being directors appointed under Articles 104A of the company's articles, under which the majority and strategic shareholder of the company, Corp Holdings Cooperative Society Limited, nominates to the board of the company. Seven directors are retiring by rotation and being eligible offer themselves for re-election in accordance with Article 100 of the company's Articles of Association. Corp Holdings Cooperative Society Limited has already nominated them for re-election. 2, in accordance with the provisions of Section 769 of the Companies Act 2015, the following directors, being members of the Board Audit Committee, be elected to continue to serve as members of the said committee. Mrs. Rose Simani. 2, Mr. Patrick K. Githendo. 3, Mr. Lawrence Karisa. 4, Mr. Mwambia Wanyambura. 5, to approve the remuneration of the directors for the year ended 31st December 2018 and to authorize the board to fix the remuneration of directors. 6, to reappoint Ernst & Young, auditors of the company, having expressed their willingness to continue in office and to authorize the directors to fix their remuneration. 7, transact any other business which may be properly transacted at an annual general meeting, dated at Nairobi this 24th day of April 2019, by order of the board, signed by Samuel M. Kibugi, Company Secretary. Note, every member entitled to attend and vote at this meeting is entitled to appoint a proxy to attend and vote on his behalf, and the proxy need not be a member of the company. A form of proxy can be downloaded from the company's website, www.copbank.co.ke, and should be delivered or sent to the share registrar, first floor, CIC Plaza 2, Upper Hill, or to any cooperative bank branch, PO Box 48231, Code 100, Nairobi, so as to be received not later than 21st May 2019, that is 48 hours before the meeting. The annual report and financial statements of the company and this notice are available on the website www.copbank.co.ke, and an abridged version of the financial statements has been published on the daily newspapers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Company Secretary. I now call upon still the Company Secretary to confirm whether we have a quorum and proxies received. Mr. Company Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quorum being 4 members present as per Article 58 of the company's Articles of Association, I confirm we have sufficient quorum to properly convene the meeting, having also received 431 proxy forms. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. A quorum being present, I declare the meeting to be properly convened and duly constituted, and we shall now proceed with the meeting. I will now give my opening speech for the meeting. The directors of Cooperative Bank Group, our dear shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Cooperative Bank Group, and on my own behalf, I am delighted to welcome you all to our 11th Annual General Meeting. I am delighted to advise that the bank sustained its strong performance record and posted a remarkable profit before tax of 18.2 billion for the year ended 31st December 2018. This great achievement was attained despite a fairly challenging business environment in the year 2018. You will be pleased to note that this strong performance was despite a loss of almost 30.8 million registered in our South Sudan operations due to the political crisis and hyperinflation in that country. The year 2018 was a year characterized by a tough economic environment, but our strategic focus provided the required resilience. With the increased momentum in the Soaring Eagle transformation agenda, revamped ICT infrastructure, and the strategy set for competing in a changed environment, the group will continue scaling new heights. Arising out of this performance, the Board of Directors of the bank are recommending to this annual general meeting the payment of a dividend of Kenya shillings, 1 shilling per share, subject to regulatory approvals. This is also in line with the bank's retention strategy for funding further growth of the bank. I sincerely, highly commend the Board of Directors of the management of the bank under the leadership of Dr. Muriuki for this excellent and incredible performance. Let me most sincerely thank the Board of Directors and you, the shareholders, for this great responsibility you have bestowed on me as the chairman of the Cooperative Bank of Kenya Limited, even as we seek to scale to greater heights, indeed as the Kingdom Bank, through which God will continue to bless the people of Kenya. I also thank you most sincerely for your continued support and patronage of the bank. As is now our usual practice, considering that this is the only occasion that we get to meet all our shareholders, I will call upon the Group Managing Director and CEO to take this opportunity to give highlights on the bank's activities and then invite our auditors to present the financial report for the year ended 31st December 2018. Mr. Ahad for our Managing Director.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We meet here annually, and I thank God so much for you. Tusalimiane kwa hewa. Asanteni sana kwa kuitikia mwaliko wetu kuja as our shareholders. Chairman, like you have said, 2018 was a difficult year. I remember 2018 is a year we had over 8 companies, listed companies, issuing profit warnings at the Nairobi Stock Exchange. And so when we are able to come here, and we are able to come and as shareholders and all of us together to talk about growth, to talk about good performance, we can only thank God for his continued faithfulness upon our bank. And thank you so much, shareholders, for coming. Thank you for being part of this journey, being part of this great transformation that we've gone through as an institution. Indeed, Chairman, today we will be looking at a profit of 18.2 billion for the year ended 31st December 2018, which compares very well with the 16.4 billion we had the previous year in 2017. And it's good to know that this 18.2 billion, Mr. Chairman, was against a budget that we had set, you as a board had set for the bank of 17.8 billion. So we were even able to do better than the budget that we had projected ourselves. And even as I start, Chairman, let me appreciate that we project this good performance to go on. And if you saw today for our first quarter, and I think that's on page 7 of the Daily Nation, if you have your Daily Nation, and you see page 7, you'll see the financials of the bank for the first quarter this year. And the bank has a profit before tax of 5.1 billion for the 3 months of 2019. Please appreciate yourselves for that. And so we are determined to continue with a good performance, and all things equal, we believe that this time next year we'll be here, Mr. Chairman, and by God's grace, I believe we'll be here next year talking about a 20 billion plus performance by this bank. Mr. Chairman, having said that, let me make a few highlights for the shareholders, because we don't get to meet every day, and I think we saw it as a good tradition over the years for us to use this forum to share with you what has happened in the course of the year in terms of the day-to-day business and what we are doing. Number one, the chairman has alluded to it. South Sudan had a much better year. In South Sudan pounds, they made a profit of 897 million from 192 million. Actually, it was a 300% growth. So in 2018, they had 800 million from 192 million the previous year. So it was a 368% growth. But due to hyperinflation, that's why when it was converted into Kenya shillings, we had a small loss of 30 shillings. But we want to say that Elijah Wamarwa, our MD in South Sudan, and the team there have done a commendable job. You'll recall last year we had a transition in South Sudan where Zachary Chianda, who was our MD, left, and we had Elijah Wamarwa coming in as the MD. And Chairman, I want to tell the shareholders that Wamarwa has settled in extremely well with his team, and they're doing a commendable job. We have a great partnership with the government. As you remember, we went by way of a joint venture. You here, you own 51% of the bank in South Sudan, and the government of South Sudan owns 49%. And that joint venture model, I think, has been very, very pertinent for us, and it has really helped us to penetrate that market. So, Mr. Chairman, we have continued to maintain a strong brand name in this industry. And indeed, the story of this bank, Mr. Chairman, is a unique testimony of God's faithfulness. It is in our time, it's nothing short of a miracle, Mr. Chairman, that in our time here, we know this bank with a loss of 2.3 billion loss. I know there's a time we had a 2.3 billion loss, and we all as shareholders were worried what would happen to the bank. Then we had around 100,000 customers in around 25 branches, an asset book of only 23 billion, that bank from a 2.3 billion loss could today be who we are today is a testimony of God's faithfulness upon this bank. That today we can talk about total assets of 425 billion, 425 billion from 25 billion, total nets and advances of 245 billion, over 8.3 million Kenyans who are banking with this bank, all over all the operations that we have out there, from, as I said earlier, only 100,000 customers, a branch network of 155 branches, over 12,000 COP Kwajirani agents, and today, if you look at your balance sheet, we have over 70 billion of shareholders' funds. We have, over the years, we have never burdened you with the rights issue, asking you to bring more money, but we have prudently, every year, paid out some dividends and made sure that we are able to retain not less than 60% of our profit every year, which is the money that we have used to accumulate over the years to build a very strong balance sheet that we have. And we can tell you, Mr. Chairman, with the 70 billion, over 70 billion of shareholders' funds, Mr. Chairman, we are able to double our balance sheet. We can be able to double the amount of deposits we have today in the balance sheet without coming back to shareholders for additional funds. Indeed, it has been a tremendous transformation journey over the years, and I must highly commend the chairman, Mr. John Morogo, the vice chairman, Mr. Macron Malonza, who also in a very special way represents our strategic investor, the COP Holding Cooperative Society, that owns 65% of this bank, representing the Kenyan cooperative movement, and the entire board. And you, the shareholders, for the way you have supported your bank, that we have come this far at a time then where you have invested in integrity, you have invested in good governance, you have invested at a time when, we are all concerned. You open the newspaper every day and you are concerned with what you are reading out there in terms of where the institutions are. At a time when that is happening, but you have invested in a strong governance in this institution, I can only thank the board and thank you, the shareholders, for that great work that you have done to uphold this institution. CoBank is a growing bank, Mr. Chairman. One, we much as we started as a sectoral bank in the early years as a bank banking only the cooperative movement, in the wisdom of the board, we agreed to diversify the product offering. And today, Mr. Chairman, we are Universal Bank offering the entire range of services, right from cooperatives banking to retail and business banking, corporate and institutional banking. We are offering advisory services through COP consultancy, through Nicholas Idodeka here, who does Kamonye, who is doing a great job. Nicholas Kamonye in COP consultancy doing a great job. The COP Trust through Idodeka, fund management, stock broking. I know we were here last year. We had 1 or 2 concerns on our stock broking. We went out there. We brought a new gentleman, Anthony Wangari. Where are you, Anthony? Yes, we have had a couple of changes in the stock broking business just to see how more we can deepen ourselves in that business. We, as you are aware, you own 26% of CIC Insurance Group. As part of that diversification, we bought a stake of 26% in CIC Insurance Group. Last year alone, the bank assurance business gave us over 500 million income last year. And so that diversification has been good. And in 2018, as you may have noted, we have gone into our leasing business. We went to a joint venture with Supergroup, and we have come up with CoBank Freeze Africa Leasing Limited. We have started a subsidiary business for doing leasing business. And we won one of the huge tenders to supply vehicles for the government, to the Kenya Police, and I know we will start well. And so we brought technical expertise from South Africa, and we brought the goodwill of being a Kenyan bank owned by the cooperative movement and all of you here, and we formed this joint venture with Supergroup, which is the largest leasing company globally, and to start this new company that we know will make a big impact in our profitability in the years to come. In terms of our branch network, dear shareholders, we now have 155 branches across the country. We are almost now represented, Mr. Chairman, in all the 47 counties. But we still continue to look for specific areas. Much as we are leveraging more on digital banking, Mr. Chairman, a lot of it now is on the phone, on the MCOP cash, on the internet, on the ATMs. We still look for opportunities to look at specific areas within the country where there will be pockets of, a need to give a branch. And Mr. Chairman, this year, in year 2018, we opened a branch in Kilimani, the Kilimani area. We opened a branch in Emali on Mombasa Road. We opened a branch in Thika Makongeni. That was our second branch in Thika. This was the side of Enanas on the way to Matu there. We felt that area needed a branch, and it has picked up very well. Mr. Chairman, we opened a branch in Kangema, and we opened a branch in Utawala, in Embakasi. This is Utawala AP side, the side of Embakasi, Nairobi. We felt there was a need for that branch. So we opened 5 branches in 2018. In 2019, as we speak, we have upcoming branches. We have a branch that is coming up in Malelal. We need to be in Samburu County. That's our Kenyan people in Samburu County need that support. And so we have a branch coming up in Malelal. We have a branch coming up in Kapenguria. We are liaising with the ACK, Bishop Kewasis. He gave us a promises. We need to, because we want to be in West Pokot also. We want to support the people of West Pokot. And so a branch is coming up in Kapenguria. Mr. Chairman, we have a branch coming up in Shogoria. We have a branch coming up at Kenyatta Avenue, right in the city center. Our City Hall branch has served as well, but with the business that we got from Nairobi County, as you are aware, we do all the collections for Nairobi County. Nairobi County, all cash collections, all the revenue collection by Nairobi County is done by the bank. We have been able to support them to streamline that service, and that our City Hall branch, which is actually inside the Nairobi County government, has been a bit squeezed. And so we are opening up a branch at Kenyatta Avenue in September, which we hope will be able to complement the City Hall branch to be able to handle that huge volume that has been coming in terms of county government payments. We are opening our 3rd branch in Eldoret. We saw a bit of the 2 branches already are overwhelmed by the business in Eldoret. And by December this year, we will have a third branch in Eldoret. Mr. Chairman, Parliament is putting up a building, as you saw, for parliamentarians, and Core Bank was honored as a bank by the parliamentarians as a bank to open a parliamentary lobby, a branch dedicated to offering services to members of parliament and the extended staff of that arm of government. And Madam Rachel Misoi at Parliament Road branch, we will extend her services by way of a new dedicated branch based in Parliament buildings. Mr. Chairman, we have really leveraged on agency banking to reduce our operating costs. You remember there was a time you'd go to a Core Bank branch many years and you take quite a bit of time in being served. And that's why we invested in alternative banking channels. Today, Core Bank has over 12,000 agents spread out the entire country. And what I want to say, Mr. Chairman, just to encourage us to continue using even the agents. Today, those Kopko Ajirani agents are able to do cash withdrawals, cash deposits, bill payments. They're able to do county payments, like I've said, for Nairobi County, also for Kiambu County. We do that. We're doing the collections for Nairobi, Kiambu County also, and other counties, fraud top-up, NHIF payments, barrels inquiry, funds transfer, and a good number of other services that we are doing there. And as I said earlier, agents have been a very critical service for us in terms of particularly penetrating the county government. The other alternative channel that we have really invested in is actually the mobile banking. We have the M-Corp Cash. Today, M-Corp Cash has over 4 million customers that are banking on the mobile phone. It's been incredible what we have been able to do with our mobile banking. And this has been great. For instance, in 2018, we were able to get deposits of over 85 billion coming through the mobile banking of M-Corp Cash, and this has been a critical focus in terms of growing our e-loans. The young people now that we have, they have no time to come to the bank to fill a form and apply for a loan. They want to do it on the mobile phone. And I want to confirm to you that your bank, Cooperative Bank, has been very active on that platform, making sure that we are very active in terms of e-loans. ATMs also now, we have really established our ATMs out there. We have over 580 ATMs all over the country. And on average, we have about 3.2 million transactions going through there. We have also invested in internet banking, particularly for our corporate customers. It's very huge. We have also invested in the diaspora banking. Those of you who have been at our Corp House branch, you'll find we even have a dedicated diaspora banking center. We were the first bank to do that, to put up a dedicated center for diaspora banking. And we have also liaised with the Kenyans in diaspora who have formed SACCOs, Mr. Chairman, and we are banking all those SACCOs in the diaspora, serving people out there, Mr. Chairman. A critical focus has been the area of the micro and small enterprises transformation. Mr. Chairman, we have a program that we are working with the International Finance Corporation. You may have seen that in the media. Last year, they gave us 15 billion. We borrowed 15 billion from the IFC at a very good rate, and this is money that will be used to penetrate the SMEs and support this critical sector of the economy. And those funds are there, and we are really growing this area in a very, very, very remarkable way. That's all. Number 3, to enhance our overall customer experience by maintaining high level of customer satisfaction. I think that's very critical. Like I said now today over 90% of our transactions are in alternative channels. Only 10% of our customer transactions are actually coming to the branch. And so we'll continue to invest in a structure that makes sure that our customer get that big service support. Mr. Chairman, number 4, to optimize the bank's huge investment in delivery channels. I think that's very critical. Successfully implement a customer-centric model. Mr. Chairman, we have 8.2 million customers. When McKinsey came, they challenged us on one thing. Core Bank, you have 8.2 million customers. And they are there, and they are your customers, and they are in your books. But most of these customers have 1 or 2 products. They challenged us on the power of being able to go to those customers and sell a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th product to those customers. What am I saying? You're here, you are the shareholder of this bank, you have a savings account. Why can't you take a credit card? Why can't you go to Kingdom Securities and have a service from Kingdom Securities on stockbroking? Why can't you buy foreign currency from CoBank? That is a critical focus that Lady Alono, our Director Corporate and Institutional Banking, Vincent Manangu in cooperatives, another Mushangi in retail banking. That are very critical issues that we are focusing ourselves on this year in terms of saying the customer base is with us. What more can we do to make sure that we get more products and more revenue out of the same customers who are with us? Mr. Chairman, we successfully implemented a shared services hub. And we looked for various services across the branch network for cost optimization, and we formed a shared services center that is today headed by Charles Wachika as the director of shared services. And by us putting all those back office in a centralized area, we were able to see huge cost savings. And now we are challenging Charles Wachika and the team to look at new opportunities of being able to do more on that area in terms of being able to reduce our operating expenses, being able to invest more in terms of technology, and also making sure that our channels are up 98% and making sure that all other processes like loan origination, credit process, and Anthony Buru, the Director Credit Management, were able to do more in terms of that process. Number 7, risk management has been a very critical issue for us, and we have strengthened that issue. We have Edgar Modawiro there as our Chief Risk Officer, and he has done a great job in terms of risk management, and we will continue to focus on that. That is a very critical area because you have seen anti-money laundering and KYC have become, cybersecurity have become very critical issues in the market today. The newest department, Mr. Chairman, in the bank is actually a transaction monitoring unit. In the bank today, we have a team that are with the screens, and on 24 hours, 7 days a week, they are monitoring the customer transactions, finding out if there is anything. If they see an account getting multiple transactions and you are not Nairobi County, which is receiving bill payments, then we are very quickly alert to be able to see what is happening there. Because cyber security, I think we have all seen it in the media, what is happening, a lot of dirty money going around. And so, Mr. Chairman, what I want to assure our shareholders here is that we have had extremely critical focus on all those issues because we have a big name as a core bank to protect, and we don't want to be caught up in anything that would download or erode the good name, Mr. Chairman, we have built over many years as a bank. Number 8, Mr. Chairman, is to improve on overall cost efficiency of the bank. I think we've done very well, Mr. Chairman. When we started this journey, our cost-income ratio was 64%, and we've been able to reduce this to 52% by December 2018. But still, we are challenging Sam Bilech, the Director, HR and Admin, to continue to look at this area and to look at areas we need to do more. We have even now digitized the procurement system, what we call the ERP system, and we are looking into more gains in the years to come. Number 9, to be the employer of choice by attracting and retaining most competent talent. Mr. Chairman, that's the biggest, our biggest gift, Mr. Chairman, is having a board like yours and having the staff that we have, that who are committed to doing a good job. And so, Mr. Chairman, the bank, you through your board, we have implemented a performance-based reward structure. And every year, based on the performance of the bank, you're able to go back to the staff and tell them, because you did well, you'll also get a bonus, you'll also get a salary increase. And if you don't do well, you will not get it. Mr. Chairman, that has worked well for this institution, and there is differentiated reward systems for staff just based strictly on the performance of the bank. And that's why the staff have gone out of their way to even do better every year, because they know when we hit 20 billion, now they know. They have been given a target of 20 billion by the board of directors. They know if we hit that 20 billion, the board will approve something for us in appreciation of that extra effort. And so we have implemented that performance improvement culture, that if a member of staff is not doing their bit, the bank does not struggle to tell you, you are not doing your bit. We give you notice. If you don't contribute your share of profits, we'll give you notice, and we will not. We don't struggle to release you from the institution if you are not doing your bit. We have also implemented on issues of data analytics, the issues of reporting within the group. A lot of things has been done in that area. We are also focusing on the sourcing strategy in terms of the bigger procurement. We are also continue, Mr. Chairman, to focus on that, on regional expansion. And the universal banking, like I said, we have gone on into the leasing business with Super Group of South Africa. and we are still reviewing opportunities for growth out there. Our focus area, Mr. Chairman, remains now Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a big market with a population of over 80 million people. We are talking with various people in Ethiopia. We had a meeting with Oromia Cooperative Bank. We had a delegation from another bank come to visit us. And Mr. Chairman, once the Ethiopian government opens up opportunity there, I think it's the first place of call that the board thinks is the first place we may want to go there. Ideally, again, we would want to go by a joint venture with the local people, with the local cooperative movement for an inclusive growth model for who we are. We are a bank that continues to obey all the laws of the land. It's very critical for us to make sure that all our regulatory agencies, right from Central Bank of Kenya to Capital Markets Authority, and all the others are happy with what we are doing. And we also want to operate as a responsible corporate citizen. And CSR for us has been on different fronts. Number one has been the capacity building in the cooperative movement, like I've said, done by COP Consultancy. We have also gone through the Co-Bank Foundation for school fees support. Mr. Chairman, it's very great that today we have over 7,000 bright and needy children who have been supported by Co-Bank through their education, both at secondary and university level. Let's appreciate ourselves. So, Chairman, as I come to conclude, in 2014, we started what we call the Soil and Legal Transformation Project, and we brought McKinsey on board. And basically, we want to really appreciate the growth momentum that we have generated. We focused on customer experience and branch transformation, and that's why today over 90% of our customers are alternative channels. Only 10% of our customers are actually coming to the branch. This has really reduced the queue time at our branches. I've talked about the sales force effectiveness that the business directors are focusing on. I've talked about the shared services and digitization. We have a critical focus on being a digital bank. We have a critical focus and we have huge investment on being a digital bank. We have a critical focus on MPL management and credit process. I can tell you, with the environment that we are in, when you hear that, for instance, SMEs are owed quite about an amount of money, it has been mentioned in some quarters as 100 billion by the county government. That kind of money locks liquidity within the economy. And you'll find a couple of those SMEs have started having a challenge within the banking sector. And so MPL, management of the non-performing loan book within the banks, is becoming a critical area of focus. Staff productivity, I've talked about that, cost management and efficiency. But also then in terms of our size, then we have leveraged on our size to be able to get additional funds from developmental partners. Like I said, Mr. Chairman, we got 15 billion last year from the IFC for lending. This is the International Finance Corporation. We have previously received 8 billion from the European Investment Bank. We have received 3 billion from IFAD and other agencies, leveraging on our strength as a bank. Again, I've talked about regional expansion, Mr. Chairman, that our regional expansion, we felt as a cooperative bank, is good to bring the people of the economy is good to be part of that journey. And like I said earlier, when we went to South Sudan, we own the bank 51%, and the government of South Sudan owns it 49%. And that's a model, an inclusive growth model that we would want to employ even as we go to other areas. And particularly, like I said, Mr. Chairman, a focus area for us is Ethiopia at this moment in time. Mr. Chairman, it's an award-winning blood, and I want to thank you so much, and the board, for giving us good, strong leadership. We've received very good awards. We got the best retail bank in Kenya, International Finance. We have been awarded the best bank in the 2018 East African Awards. We got the best retail bank, best SME bank, best investment institution. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, I'm saying the bank will continue to show resilience in the balance sheet and profitability growth. The bank is well positioned to take the opportunities that will arise as the government continues to carry out big four projects in housing, health, infrastructure, and manufacturing. Mr. Chairman, we have, for instance, invested 200 million in the Kenya Mortgage Finance Company that was being launched by the president yesterday, because we see ourselves playing a big role in that, in the housing sector. And so, Mr. Chairman, will continue. We see ourselves continue to do well as we go on. Again, Mr. Chairman, to say that today, before the shareholders, you are recommending a shilling for 1 shilling, which is a great effort, particularly for the cooperative movement that invested 1 shilling in the bank, because the 1 shilling they invested in the bank is now a shilling for shilling. And this is also a 25% growth in the dividend payout from the 80 cents per share we paid last year. And so I want to thank you very much. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to conclude my remarks by thanking you, the shareholders. We will not have come the way we have come without the goodwill you have given us. You are also our customers. I know you have really supported us. You've given us very good support over the years, and I want to thank you very much. I thank you, Chairman, for the able leadership you have given us. I want to thank you, the Vice Chairman, Mr. Macraud Malonza, again, who represents the 65% shareholder of this great bank upholding cooperative society, and the entire board and the government that has given us incredible support. And I cannot conclude my comments, Mr. Chairman, without thanking the staff. Their directors are here who have been there. They have walked this journey. They have really dedicated themselves every year to make sure that the target that we have been given. And they are here, and they are hearing me say that I am promising as I stand before you here, and I'm praying that next year, this time, as I come here, Mr. Chairman, all things equal, we pray you'll be announcing a profit of how much? 20 billion by this time next year. And they are hearing me, so that we all need to make sure that we make that delivery happen by God's grace. So thank you. Thank you very much. We thank God. Over and above all, let me thank God. God has been faithful. It's the shareholders of this bank in 2004 who declared that CoBank shall be the kingdom bank through which God will bless the people of Kenya. Indeed, we have seen God faithful. And God has walked with us in our journey as a bank. And we promise you as shareholders, we will continue to put even more effort in the days and the months to come to make sure we give you even better performance. I'm happy we were able to, despite everything, to report a 5.1 billion profit for the first quarter of this year, and we pray that we'll build on that performance in the months to come. And with that, Mr. Chairman, and with your permission, I want to ask our auditors, Ernst & Young, to come and present the 2018 audited accounts. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, shareholders and directors represented here. What I'll do, I'll take you through briefly what is contained in the published accounts. And first, this is an integrated report as it is stated. And in summary, an integrated report is a report which gives the details of the operations of a company, and if you have managed to read through, you have been able to see exactly what the company is doing in details. The financial statements which we audited are from page 80. Members, if you go to page 80, you will see the director's report from page 80 to 82. Page 83 is the statement of directors' responsibilities. As required by the law, the directors are responsible for the preparation and of financial statements. So the directors have confirmed and they have owned that they have carried out that responsibility. On page 84 to 88, it is the director's remuneration reports. As it is required by the law, you shareholders are supposed to be informed what the directors have earned during the year. That report has been presented on page 84 to page 88. The auditor's report, which I'll come later, is on page 89 to page 93. The balance sheet and the income statement and statement of changes in equity and the cash flow are on pages 94 to 103. Members, the bank and the subsidiaries have got accounting policies which they use in the preparation of these financial statements. Those have been highlighted from page 104 to page 139, if you go through the accounts. From page 140 to page 214, those are the financial statement disclosures which are required to support the balances which have been reported in the balance sheet, in the income statement, in the cash flow, and the statement of changes in equity. I'll not go into the details of all those, but as I go to my opinion, I can confirm as your auditors, the board have gone through the governance process. We have presented the performance of the bank and the group to the board audit committee, and the board audit committee have presented that to the board. So the whole process has gone through the governance process well. If I may turn to the report of the auditors on page 89, the basis of the opinion. We conducted our audit in accordance with the International Standard on Auditing. Our responsibilities on those are described in the auditor's responsibilities, which I will tackle later. In the course of the audit, we identified key audit matters. And key audit matters are those matters in our professional judgment work were of most significance in our audit of the consolidated and separate financial statement of the current period. And these have been addressed in the context of our audit of the consolidated separate and financial statement as a whole, informing an opinion thereon. But we are not expressing an opinion on those key audit matters. If you go to page 90 and 91, we identified two key audit matters, and one is expected credit loss on loans and advances. During the year, a new international financial reporting standard 9 came into effect. And these standards, what it requires us is when you are looking at bad debts or bad loans, you consider forward-looking information. Before, we used to consider historical information, how the credit facilities has been performing. As a result, when you apply this standard, there are a number of assumptions to apply in expected credit loss models, and there are also interpretation requirements. There are also other considerations which are microeconomics, which also needs to be considered. As auditors, what we did, we understood what the company or the bank had done, and what the bank had done, it hired a specialist to look at those models. We tested the key controls. We tested the completeness of the financial information, and we also sampled and tested some of the items, and we were comfortable. The group managing director has highlighted South Sudan is an hyperinflation country, and as required by the international standards number 29, we had to reinstate those numbers using the consumer price index. And the details are highlighted under note 32C. Other information in these financial statements are the director's report, which you have looked at. As said, on page 92 is the responsibilities of the directors and the auditors, which are highlighted there. And the last page, 93, is the report on other matters prescribed by the Kenyan Companies Act. And as required by the Kenyan Companies Act 2015, we report to you based on our audit that, in our opinion, the information given in the report of the directors on page 80 to 82 is consistent with the consolidated and separate financial statements. And in our opinion, the auditable part of the directors' report on page 84 to 88 has been properly prepared in accordance with the Kenyan Companies Act. And in our opinion, we have audited the company financial statements of the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, the bank, and the subsidiaries, together the group, set on pages 94 to 214, which comprise consolidated and separate statement of financial position as at 31st December 2018, and the consolidated and separate statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. In our opinion, the company consolidated and separate financial statement present fairly in all material respects the consolidated and the separate financial position of the group and the bank as at 31st December 2018, and is consolidated and separate financial performance and is consolidated and separate cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with the International Financial Reporting Standards and the requirements of the Kenyan Company Act. This report was signed by myself, Michael Kimoni, on the 29th March 2019. Thank you, members. I also take this opportunity to thank the chair and his board, and the group managing director, and the management, and confirm to you shareholders, in the course of our work, we did not find any limitation in exercising our responsibility as your auditors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our auditors, for that very important confirmation. Now, I also thank our GMD for having taken us through a very elaborate report. So, shareholders, this is the time for questions, and now our GMD will be able to give answers to the various questions. Are there any questions, please? Yes, we shall have questions, comments, interventions, all are welcome. So we have some people around the crowd. Yes, okay, thank you. Yes, you get the microphone.
Oh, my friend,
how are you? Oh, that is Mr. Chami.
Oh, I have never met you, but I welcome you, Chairman. I think this is my first time to meet you today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Welcome. Now, Group Chairman, Group Managing Director and CEO Doctor, all directors and of the subsidiary, all management and staff, wakiongozwa na Francis Ngumi, somebody, members of the press, invited guests, my fellow distinguished shareholders who are sitting with me here today, and they have taken their time to come and listen to what our doctor has been telling us. Now, Mr. Chairman, let me commend you first, commend all of you for the good job you have been doing the last 12 months up to now, and we have to continue again with the continuation of more money in the bank, and you, as you said, 20 billion will be achieved. That one is commendable. Now, Mr. Chairman, before I ask any comment or any question, let me first of all refer you to page number 9, 21, 39, 46, 47, 77. Now, those pages, Group Chairman, are just achievement that you have made to impress the shareholders. Now, may I, at this juncture, kindly ask my fellow distinguished shareholders to appreciate you and to clap to you. Clap to them, my shareholders. Now, Group Chairman, on page number 97, page number 97, there's fair value reserves. Both years they have been in negative, both years, last year and the year under review. May I have light on that? Now, also on page number 100, there's also the same item, which is in negative about 438 and 162 in negative. Page number 155, Group Chairman, there's non-interest gap and interest sensitive gap. Oh, yeah, I think that is the one that it's about 142,953,884 in negative. May I have light on that one? Page number 168, Mr. Chairman, note number 5. South Sudan has posted all negative profit and operating. Now, my question is, how would our board and management turn around to profitability in South Sudan, and how soon? Page number 173, note number 8, Group Chairman, deposits balances due from banks. They are too high during the year under review. May I have light on that? And then I think the last one should be page number 10 to page number 214, note number 47. These are contingent liabilities, which I think have either will make losses or will occur losses or affect our business. Could we have a clarification on that? Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Group Chairman. Those are my questions and my comments. Thank you. Thank you, shareholders.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chami. That's quite a lot, and I hope our GMD has got hold of them. He can comment or respond to the ones he has got as we follow up on the others. Mr. GMD.
Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you, Mr. Chami, for that commendation. Thank you for encouraging us on that journey. First of all, I'll comment on the South Sudan business and the contingent liabilities and the deposits from banks, and then I'll ask our auditor to come and comment on the other issues as far as the accounting treatment is concerned. Now, South Sudan business, when we are in South Sudan, the business reports their numbers in South Sudan pounds. The local currency in South Sudan is South Sudan pounds. So we're in South Sudan, like I said, they were able to increase their profit from 192 million in South Sudan pounds to 800 million. So it was a growth of 300% in terms of the local pound. But the value of the pound, unfortunately, against the shilling has been losing. And so when Wamaro and his team report their profits at the local AGM now of the South Sudan, they will be saying we have increased our profits from 200 million to 800 million. But then for the purpose of consolidation, the requirement is like then saying, the International Accounting Standard number 29 is like then saying, what is the value of that South Sudan pounds vis-a-vis the Kenya shilling? And this is where the catch comes in. The South Sudan pound has really lost ground. It has been devaluated a couple of times, and that's why when you now convert it to Kenya shillings, it becomes a loss. But having said that, Mr. Chami, let me highlight this. When we were here last year, South Sudan had contributed a loss of 800 million to our group. So after they did what they did, the translation into Kenya shilling was a loss of 800 million. We are now saying in 2018, the translation loss was not 800 like the other year, now it was only 30 million. So you can see they have really improved. From a loss of 800 million in 2017 to a loss of only 30 million, it means they had a positive impact of over 770 million in terms of the translation. But it's still a loss of 30 million. We have a team there, like I said, Mr. Chami and Mr. Wamarwa, they are doing a great job, and they're doing a very good job. Mr. Chairman, I want to comment, and so we are on course. Mr. Chami, I assure you that we are on course. I think they have done a great job, and we assure you that we pray that by the time we come here, the next AGM, South Sudan will have a bigger input into our balance sheet. Deposits from banks. What happens is, banks on a day-to-day basis, depending on how your end of day is, once you go for clearing on any one day, let me give you an example. Today, our liquidity ratio as a bank is 44%. The minimum ratio by central bank is 20. You are required to have liquid assets by way of cash, treasury bills, treasury bonds of 20%. Today, as we speak, our liquidity ratio is 44%. So we are very liquid, and we have money to lend. At the end of the day, when you go for clearing against other banks, you may find at the end of the day, there are people who moved out money. Since you cannot go and liquidate your treasury bills and treasury bonds immediately, we have what we call an interbank facility. Banks actually lend to each other on a daily basis. At the end of the day, if you are short, you borrow from the other bank, but it's only for a day. Then the next day, after clearing, you reverse, depending on how it is. And so on a day-to-day basis, Robert Alo, our treasurer, will be lending and borrowing from other banks in the market, depending on how the interbank is for that day. And those are the deposits. At any one time, it's a daily changing balance, and that is a balance that will be captured under deposits by banks. Deposited by banks reflects the money that is coming from other banks on a day-to-day basis in terms of the business. Contingent liabilities refers to LCs. This is we have given letters of credit on behalf of customers. It's business for us. We have given, a customer comes and says, I want to import goods from UK. We will issue what we call a letter of credit to the supplier in UK. We'll tell the person in UK or in China, we give a letter of credit, which is actually a financial instrument that says, on behalf of Mr. Chami importing this machinery from UK, as and when that machinery comes to Kenya and Mr. Chami is happy that the equipment is okay, we will pay you. And so what the auditors do is that at any one time, they have to quantify the amount of liabilities that you have taken for those kind of business, so that you as shareholders, you are able to see what kind of business, one, we are doing in terms of foreign currency business, and also in terms of, it's good business for us. That contingent LC business is good for us. I think with that, I would ask, if it's okay, Auditor, to comment on the fair value reserve. What does it mean? What it means in accounting language. The negative fair value reserves, I would ask the auditor to comment on that. Mr. Kimoni, or is it Mr. Muchoki? Okay.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll try to answer the on page 97, page 100, and 155. I think the others, the MD, as the group MD has answered. If you start with page 97, if you look at the figure referred to, in the previous year it was 625 million. In the current year is 298 million. There is an improvement. What happens as required by the International Financial Reporting Standards, there are some financial assets like the bonds, the treasury bonds, which the bank has invested in. Those are supposed to be valued at fair value. And as you are aware, the market of bonds keeps on changing, and this is a loss arising from the fair value movement, and that explains that. If you move to page 100, If you move up page 100, it's just the same explanation about the fair value reserve. There is a reserve which is normally set, and that's where fair value gains or losses are posted through the year. The last one is on page 155. If you go to page 155, if you look at the heading, it is exposure to interest rate risk. What the IFRS requires is that you are supposed to do a sensitivity analysis. If interest were to move, what will happen? So what happens is you classify the assets which the bank and the group owns, and you also look at the liabilities which the bank have. If you look at the assets will be generating revenue, which is interest. The liabilities will be generating expenses, which will be interest expense. So you do what is called an interest rate sensitivity analysis. When you do that sensitivity analysis, you break it down into various categories according to the age. And if you look at the top, we have done what is called the aging as required. Available immediately within 1 month, 1 to 3 months, 3 to 12 months, 1 to 5 years or 5 years, and then there are what are called non-interest bearing assets and liabilities. So as a result, when you look at that analysis, it is showing that we've got an exposure of 142, but overall, the bank has a positive interest rate exposure of positive of 209 billion. So the bank is not exposed as far as the interest sensitivity is concerned. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, our auditor. Those are rather technical matters, but I hope, Mr. Chami, you are satisfied. Maybe I have other interventions. Down, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Stephen Wilson Kimani. Mine is not a question, just a comment. Since we are growing, we are now 50 years old as a bank. So I'm suggesting if we can use some of the retained earnings to expand to other countries, apart from operating only in Kenya and Southern Sudan, so that we can be able to increase our market share and also increase profitability for the bank.
Thank you, Kimani. I think let's get the rest. Maybe we can pick a few more before we respond to that. This side on my right, let's get him a microphone.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Simon, and my question is based on page 78. I just need to be educated on the director's shareholdings. What is the policy that governs that? And is there anything barring those with dashes from buying a few shares to show that we are in this together and that they have faith in the company and that they are ready to invest in it? Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a good question. We will respond to that. Another intervention on my left. Yes, on the left there. Can we get a microphone on that side, please? Yeah, just wait for the microphone so that we can all hear you. Microphone there.
Thank you, Chairman and the Managing Director. Mine is just a simple question on the mergers of NIC and CBA, plus the mergers of KCB and National Bank. Are they going to dislodge our bank when they combine their whatever? Because I also heard the CBK would like us to put maybe 50 to whatever for each bank to be. Are we going to be joined by another bank? That's the only question I have.
Thank you very much. That's a good question. We need to get your name. We didn't get that. But we can go to the next one.
My name is Peter Mwaola Kachoki, shareholder.
Okay. Next one, please. Okay, I think I'll get. There is a lady. The lady, say your name and then your question.
Jina langu ni Mary Wanjiko Kuria. Rangu si swali, si pendekezo, ni lalamiko. In the year 2017, wakati tulikuwa na mkutano kama huu wa shareholders uko Safari Park, Dr. Murioki aliulizwa swali kuhusu fraud katika bank. Na alijibu akasema kuna watoto tumempelekea wale wanafanya kazi na bank na hawa ndio wanafanya hiyo kazi kwa sababu wanataka kutajirika haraka. Little did I know, mimi nitakuwa victim. July nilipoingia bank cooperative bank kutoa pesa zangu, nikapata pesa hasiko. Since that time ninazungushwa bank, nimeingia department ya security, pesa ingine imepatikana, ninaporudi pia tena wananiambia hapana, hasijapatikana. Sasa ningependa nielezewe sasa kama hizo pesa nitapata ama kutakuwa namna gani. Thank you.
Very good. I think now our GMD can respond to some of those matters. Mr. GMD.
Thank you, Chairman. I think I thank the shareholders for that contribution. Yes, my youth shareholder, thank you for that challenge. Because we need to grow into the region, like we have said. We are going into another region. Our priority is Ethiopia. Now, let me say this. If you have followed through what has happened in the media, the banks that went to Ethiopia, how is the performance in Ethiopia? How is the performance of banks in Tanzania? Has it been good? No. And so we have sort of as a board gone through on going to Tanzania. Much as we had earlier said we'll go to Tanzania, our experience from what we have seen out of the banks that had gone there earlier, they have lost a bit of money. We have not prioritized Tanzania at the moment. And like I said earlier, we will still grow, but we want to grow in a sustainable way. And our first place of call, we see Ethiopia as the next place of call as we look at other areas. And I take that challenge very, very, very positively. And we'll continue to look at it. Thank you, my shareholder on the director's shareholding. Indeed, that's a good challenge. I think the challenge you have made is if you are a director and against there's a Dutch on your shareholding. I think the challenge is, as a director, what are you doing? I think it was very clear. And are you walking the same journey with on this journey? Now, directors are allowed to own up to 5%. Central bank encourages directors to own shareholding in the institutions they are in, subject to a maximum of 5% subject to a maximum of 5%. The shareholder up here, Mr. Peter, you asked a very good question about the effect of mergers in the competitive market environment that we are in. I think KCB and NBK have announced their intention. NIC and CBA have announced that intention. Let me say this. Today we are number 3 bank in Kenya now in terms of the asset book and in terms of our profitability. And we will not fold our hands as others are coming together. We are also in our boardroom, also strategizing on how, like I said earlier, on how to give you more value. I don't want to comment about the mergers of the two institutions in the public domain, but all I can assure you as shareholders is that we are not folding our hands waiting for them to overtake us. You know, that's all I can tell you. Yeah. I don't want to comment about them, but I can tell you, as far as we are concerned, we also have our strategies to make sure that we continue to do well. To the best of my knowledge, I don't have the exact figures, but I know when we are talking about 18 billion combined, 18 billion for 2018, I know CBA and NIC, their profitability combined was around 14 billion, if I'm not wrong, the figure that they had. So even them, I'm sure they have some work to do in terms of, you know, we are not just waiting for banks to come and catch up with us. We are also doing what we need to do to make sure that we are also competitive in the market we are in. But having said that, let me say this, that merger of banks, like the two sets of banks who have talked about merger, is good for the industry because it strengthens the financial sector. It makes sure that we have stronger institutions that are good for the industry. You know, we look at the industry collectively. When banks come together and they are merging, it's good for the industry because we have stronger institutions, and any economy thrives based on a strong financial sector. I think it's good when we have strong financial institutions. But for individual institutions, it means there's more competition. It means we have more work to do. It means my directors here with me, the line managers who are there, we have more work to do, like I said. The 20 billion that we have promised you will not come on a platter. It is because we have to work, Mr. Chairman, very hard, and I've given that commitment. Madam Mero Wanjiko, I first of all want to apologize. I don't have the details of your issue, but let me first of all apologize if you didn't get a good service or if you lost your money. But I will say this very broadly, although I'll take your details. We're in a digital technology. If you today, you as a customer of the bank, misplace your ATM card, hello, tuko pamoja? Or you give your spouse, or you give your child, or you give your friend your ATM number, and your friend, your relative, your spouse goes to the ATM and withdraws money. Who has withdrawn the money? It is you. I think that's a bit I want to explain. That there are instances, and most of those instances that we are dealing with are instances where your son, your daughter, your spouse, your very close person around you takes your ATM card, takes your mobile phone, and actually does a transaction on your behalf. If you come to the bank, now, when you're out there, you are an ATM code. So if you give that ATM code to somebody, that person is you. So you can't come later and tell us, no, we don't know how they got that money. If we actually confirm somebody used your ATM number, we will hold you responsible for that. How did that code get to that other person? I'm saying that as a point of education. Madam Wanjiko, I don't have your details. I will take it up immediately after this. Please see me at the end of this meeting, and I'm sure I'll follow it up. But I pray it's not a case of somewhere where your son, your daughter, or a close member of the family took your code and accessed money. Because if that is the case, I really can't do much. Because you will be held accountable for who you give that code. Again, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I want to thank the shareholders again for your good comments and good suggestions, and we'll follow them through. And again, I can only give that commitment that I pray, by God's grace, that we will come here next year, a time like this, Mr. Chairman, and be able to announce to you, shareholders, that we have a profit before tax of at least 20 billion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. GMD, if there is,
I can hear a comment there.
Oh, thank you. As of today, we have no institution that we are merging with. As of today, the board will continue to look at business opportunities. I think that's a good question. We'll continue to look at business opportunities available out there. But as of today, I can tell you we are not merging with anybody. That I confirm to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, GMD, for those responses. I think I'll put an end to that session. I now propose that we adopt the audited accounts, auditors and directors' reports. May we have a seconder, please? You support. Mr. Chami seconds that. May I see by a show of hands those in favor? Very good. Motion carried. Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda relates to dividends. The directors, taking into consideration performance of the bank, have proposed the payment of a first and final dividend of 1 shilling per ordinary share to be paid to the shareholders in the register of members of the bank as at the close of business on 29th April 2019. The dividend, if you approve it, will be paid on or about 6th June 2019. I propose the passing of the resolution that the bank declares a dividend of 1 shilling per share. May I have a seconder, please? There is a madam there.
Grace Gambe, I second. We be given that money.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion carried. Can I see by a show of hands those in favor? Okay, motion carried. The next item will be for the MD. I call upon the Group Managing Director and CEO to brief the meeting on the rotation and election of directors and handle this agenda of the item. Mr. GMD.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, let me first of all, at the very highlight, say this. The directors that are due for rotation are the directors that come from Corp Holding Cooperative Society. Corp Holding Cooperative Society give us 7 directors to the board, and it is out of those 7 directors that 3 are rotating. But let me go through the formal motion. The composition of the board of directors as per the bank's articles of association is as hereunder. 7 directors nominated by the strategic and majority shareholder as provided in Article 104A, wherein Corp Holding Cooperative Society Limited is entitled to nominate and have elected to the board of directors without opposition 7 directors. Then number 2, it has the group MD as also a director. It also then has a principal secretary to the treasury. The PS Treasury by invitation is also a director or his duly appointed alternate from the PS Treasury as per Article 3A, which provides that the directors of the bank shall at all times include the permanent secretary to the treasury or his appointee, and Mr. Wanyambura Mwambia is the one representing the PS Treasury on our board. And then 3 directors elected by the AGM representing the 35% public shareholding in the bank. Number 2, I'm saying, Mr. Chairman, under Article 100, at every annual general meeting, 1/3 of the directors eligible to retire by rotation, or if their number is not a multiple of 3, the number nearest to, but not exceeding 1/3, shall, subject to the provisions of Article 94 and 94A, retire from office. Those retiring in every year being those who have been longest in office since their last election or appointment, but as between persons who became directors on the same day, those to retire shall, unless they otherwise agree among themselves, be determined by lot. Then I'm saying, Mr. Chairman, the directors eligible to retire by rotation this year, based on above criteria, these are the 3 directors coming from Corp Holding Cooperative Society. Mr. Macraud Malonza, the chairman of Corp Holding, Mr. Richard Kimanthi, and Mr. Benedict Smew. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Maronza, Mr. Kimanthi, and Mr. Simiu, being eligible, have offered themselves for the election and have been nominated by Corp Holding Cooperative Society under Article 104A to be elected as directors of the bank. Article 104 provides that the majority shareholder is entitled to nominate and have elected to the board 7 directors without opposition from nominees of other shareholders. Mr. Chairman, the board of directors recommend and is update to the shareholders the following: the election of Mr. Macron Malonza, Mr. Richard Kimanthi, and Mr. Benedict Simiyu as directors of the bank in accordance with Article 104A. They are entitled to be elected, as I noted earlier, without opposition because they have been brought by Corp Holding Cooperative Society. I now wish to move the motion for the passing of the specific resolution for the election of the directors. And so can I get a seconder for that? Yes, Madam?
I'm Mary Mudhami. I have seconded the director to continue the job.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam. Good. I'll go to the next one. Are we all in favor? Can we support the election of our 3 directors? Thank you very much. I'll go to the next one. And this is the appointment of directors to join in to serve in the audit board. Basically, what am I saying? That you as shareholders, you are required under the new Companies Act to actually see and approve the directors who have been appointed by the board to serve in the audit board. Section 132 of the Companies Act provides that a public company shall ensure that at a general meeting of the company, a motion for the appointment of 2 or more persons as directors of the company by a single resolution moved. So we have 4 directors who serve on the audit board. And these are Madam Rosemani, who is the chairperson, Mr. Patrick Kivendu, Mr. Lawrence Kalisa, and Mr. Wanyambura Mwambia. Now, we can either go one by one, or the law allows us to have all of them. If you pass a resolution, we can pass a resolution to have all of them at a go being approved as members of the, instead of reading one by one, members of the audit board. Are you okay we read all of them together? Yes, so who I propose, who seconds that? You second, who is that?
My name is Simon Muchoki Kigo. I second.
Thank you. So you second that we have all of them together. In that case then, I want to read the 4 names then. I now wish then to move the motion for the election of Mrs. Losmani, Patrick Kegevendu, Lawrence Kalisa, and Wanyambura Mwambia as directors to serve in the audit committee. Would I get a seconder then? Paul, you want to second that? The motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So with that, then, you as shareholders, you are confirming then that Mrs. Rosumani, Patrick Gevendu, Lawrence Karisa, and Mr. Wanyambura Mwambia from PS Treasury then continue serving as the audit committee of the board. Are we all in favor? Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, GMD, for that. The next item of the agenda, number 10, is in line with industry practice. The board requires your authority to approve the remuneration of the directors for the year ended 31st December 2018, to approve to review and fix the remuneration of directors for the year 2019. I propose that the remuneration of the directors for the year ended 31st December 2018 be approved and the board be authorized to fix the remuneration of the directors for the year 2019. May I have a seconder for that proposal?
My name is Catherine Wamboi, and I second.
Thank you very much. May I see by a show of hands those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you very much for that. The next agenda, Ernst & Young, who were appointed in the year 2018 have indicated their willingness to continue in office, and the Board of Directors support the request. I propose the passing of a resolution appointing Ernst & Young as our auditors and authorizing the Board of Directors to fix their remuneration. May I have a seconder, please? Name, please.
Stanley Kehio, I second.
Thank you very much. May I see by a show of hands those in favor? Motion carried. The next item on our agenda is that there being no other business for which notice has been received, I now declare the meeting officially closed. Yes. May I now call upon somebody to take us through our closing prayer? We have our bishop. We have a bishop among our Board of Directors, and I call upon him to lead us in the closing prayer. Our bishop.
Let's stand up for a word of prayer. Loving Father, we want to thank you for this moment in time. The Lord, the whole of last year we saw your hand, and today we are here to thank you for what you did for us. We want to thank you for the chairman of the bank. We want to thank you, Father, for the vice chairman, for the GMD, for the board of directors, the staff of the bank, and even our shareholders who are here with us. We bless your name because you made it possible for us to work as a team and to reach this particular time. We bless you and we thank you for the results. Father, as we adjourn the meeting, I want to pray for each one of us. As we travel back home, we pray for journey mercies. Bless this country. Father, bless our president and the entire leadership of this country. We pray for peace to prevail, for us to be able to continue serving your people in the Kingdom Bank. Thank you for this day, and thank you for this moment in time. For in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Shareholders, we now come lead